Dated a Few Men, a Spicy Romance Short Story, Chapter 1. After the breakup. Stella had always believed love should feel like fire, consuming, wild, unforgettable, and forever. But after her 6 years relationship with Daniel ended in a trail of broken promises, she decided fire only left ashes, and perhaps true love was just a fancy story. At 28, she was no longer interested in marriage, but she wasn't ready to close her heart either. So she made a quiet vow. I'll date, I'll explore, and maybe I'll learn what I really want. I no longer want to settle. Her best friend Amaka laughed when Stella said it over brunch. Girl, I'm happy you're finally seeing what I've been saying all these while. You don't date, you commit. Always falling for the first man that's nice to you. Try casual for once. Just enjoy the ride. Sophia smiled. Though she wasn't sure her heart could handle casual, she has always had this moral judging switch on. That week, she downloaded an exclusive dating app, and her adventure began. Chapter 2. The Billionaire Boss. Her first date was with Adams Collins, CEO of a luxury tech firm. He picked her up in a sleek black Maybach, the scent of expensive cologne clinging to him. She had swiped right on his profile and found out they were a match. Adams was magnetic. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his deep voice wrapping around her like velvet, so smooth and alluring. Dinner at a rooftop restaurant felt like a scene out of a movie. He definitely knew how to treat a lady. He ordered for her without asking, charmed the waiter, and kept his hand lightly on hers. The champagne bubbled. The city glittered below, and when his lips brushed her knuckles, she felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years. But by dessert, she noticed it. Adam was an alpha male, way too much of an alpha male. The way he corrected her choice of words, the way he said, "My woman should this and should that." Adams didn't want a partner, he wanted a possession. The passion was undeniable, but as Stella lay in his penthouse later that night, playing the early scenes of the night, staring at the ceiling while he slept beside her, she whispered to herself, I can't breathe in this kind of love. Chapter 3. The Artist. 2 weeks later, Stella met Jason at a park. He was a painter who lived in a sunlit loft. His hands were always stained with colors, his hair always tousled as though he'd just rolled out of bed. Jason was full of laughter, kisses in the rain, and whispered endearments. He painted her portrait while soft jazz played, his eyes roaming her face like she was his masterpiece. He did make her feel special. The intimacy was intoxicating. With him, every touch felt like a brushstroke, every kiss like an unfinished canvas. There was no shyness when it came to the romance. He was the public lover. But passion had a price of cause. Jason forgot dates, missed calls, and smiled at every girl. He was all vibes and didn't want to put a name on the thing they had. He once disappeared for 3 days and gave the excuse that the muse had taken him to the mountains. When he showed up at her door barefoot, smiling sheepishly with paint on his cheek, and no sincere apology, Stella realized he was selfish, would never choose her first. He would always choose something else, and her feelings didn't mean much to him. Chapter 4. The Best Friend. In all her adventure with men, David had been a partaker. He was her childhood friend, steady and kind. He has always been there, listening to her complaints. He was a constant presence. It was Amaka's birthday party, and they both had a lot of fun together. When they finally kissed, it felt safe. Maybe too safe. Stella was taking a little break off dating apps, and she was open to fun. There was warmth in the kisses, but no fire. David had always been a friend, and until the kiss, she had had no idea he liked her like a man liked a woman. She let it play for a few weeks, not wanting to hurt his feelings and looking to confirm if this was it for her. Finally, this one was safe, and it has been said, to let your man love you more. However, the love was without sparks. Stella wanted more. She needed more. And admitting it to David nearly broke her heart, but he hugged her and said, You deserve a love that makes you glow. How could she not be content with someone this sweet?
Chapter 5. The Unexpected Match. Stella thought she was done. Dating was exhausting. It was like gambling with no sure odd. Her heart was bruised. Amaka's wedding was coming up and she has been at the forefront of the planning. The days were boring and the nights longer. No long calls to rant about how her day had been. Her phone barely rang except for work. Then she met Ethan. She had been arguing with a vendor in the early hours of Amaka's wedding day. The vendor had showed up late, poorly dressed. He had worked up to her to find out what was going on. She later found out he was the best man to the groom. He was no billionaire but a CEO of a couple of new restaurants in town. He wasn't an artist, nor a lifelong friend. He was a chef, passionate, stubborn, with a smile that tugged at her soul. Their banter at the wedding turned into coffee. Coffee turned into long walks. Walks turned into nights filled with laughter, and eventually, kisses that left her trembling. The relationship was slow and filled with tense sparks. Ethan saw her not as a possession, not as a muse, not as someone safe. He saw her messy, indecisive, complicated self. He made her laugh, had no gender restrictions, and loved her anyway. Chapter 6. Happily, finally. One night, as they cooked dinner together in his small but cozy apartment, Sophia looked at Ethan and realized, this is what I've been searching for. Not fire that consumed, not safety that suffocated, but love that warmed, steady, passionate, surprising. She had dated a few men, but only one felt like home.